I was brushing
This is
down Daisy
private
near the
property.
eastern fence
You're
line when I
breaking the
saw her
rules.
again. Karen Whitmore. There she stood, dead center of my corral. Designer sunglasses perched on her nose. Clipboard clutched like it held the 10 Commandments of suburban aesthetics. She jabbed a manicured finger toward my fence posts, as if she owned the damn land. "Those weeds must go immediately," she announced, voice sharp enough to shatter glass. "And this fence, peeling paint, it's dragging down our entire property value." I took a slow breath. Don't lose it. Don't give her the satisfaction. "Karen," I said, calm but firm, "for the 100th time, this is my ranch. You're trespassing. The HOA has no authority here. Now, please, leave before you spook the horses." Her face flamed crimson. "Don't you dare threaten me, Luke Morrison. I know my rights." With the flair of a Wild West gunslinger, she whipped out her phone. "I'm calling 911. This man is threatening me with violence." I stood frozen as she spun a wild lie into the receiver, claiming I'd chased her with heavy machinery and screamed. Death threats. Within minutes, sirens wailed down the gravel road. 2 squad cars skidded to a halt. Deputies leaping out, hands hovering near their holsters. "Sir, step back from the woman and keep your hands visible," the lead officer barked. That was my first encounter with Deputy Rodriguez, and my brutal lesson that the most dangerous predators don't always have fangs. They wear pearls, carry clipboards, and wield neighborhood bylaws like daggers. "My name is Luke Morrison. For 15 years, I've run the Double M Ranch, 40 acres of rolling Montana hills, fed by a clean, steady creek. I once rode bulls on the pro circuit until one named Tornado rearranged my spine in ways no surgeon could fix. Now, I breed quarter horses and treasure. My solitude treasured it, anyway, until the Willowbrook subdivision sprouted like kudzu along my eastern border. Enter Karen Whitmore. She moved into one of those cookie-cutter McMansions, muscled her way into the HOA presidency on promises of elevating curb appeal, and somehow decided my ranch well outside. HOA jurisdiction was part of her personal restoration project. It started small, polite suggestions to repaint the barn in softer hues. Then came formal notices demanding I hide my horse trailer. I showed up at an HOA meeting to explain calmly, clearly, that their rules held as much sway over my land as a paper airplane in a hurricane. Karen just gave me that thin, pinched smile. "We'll look into it," she said, and she did. Relentlessly, anonymous complaints flooded my mailbox, roosters crowing too early, manure stench violating decency. Bogus county violation reports followed, until the inspector himself told me, "You should file a harassment claim." I wish I had one morning. I found a landscaping crew hacking away at my boundary hedge, with Karen supervising like a general on inspection. "Just boosting your curb appeal," she chirped. "It took the sheriff to get them off my land." She left, acting like I was the lunatic. That's when I installed the cameras. High-res, night vision, motion-triggered, covering every inch of my property line. Best decision I ever made, because the footage that followed wasn't just proof, it was a confession for days. I watched Karen stroll across my land like it was her personal park, photographing my barn, my tractors, my horses, cataloging hay bales like they were evidence in a crime. I backed up every second, every angle. When I finally confronted her with my neighbor Tom, filming, she snapped, "You're running an illegal business in a residential zone," she shrieked, face purpling. "I'll sue you into oblivion. I'll get this ranch shut down." Then she stormed off, vowing legal war. 20 minutes later, sirens again. Deputy Rodriguez stood on my porch, asking me to step out with my hands visible. "We gotta call you," threatened a woman with a shovel, and chased her off your property. I almost laughed. I don't even own a shovel, but I do have cameras, multiple angles, full audio, and a witness. Inside, they watched the truth unfold. Karen's repeated trespasses, for photographic surveillance, and the confrontation where I never raised my voice, never lifted a hand, Deputy Rodriguez's jaw tightened. She told us you were unhinged, that you warned her you'd harm her if she came back. That's not what happened, I said. I told her I'd press trespassing charges. Big difference. He exchanged a look with his partner. We'll need copies of every video and your witness's statement, because filing a false police report, that's a crime, and trespassing, also a crime. The fallout hit like a prairie thunderstorm. By dawn, all of Willowbrook knew Karen had lied to 911. The camera footage became local legend proof that their HOA queen wasn't just overzealous. She was unhinged, but Karen didn't retreat. She doubled down. She called an emergency HOA meeting, pushing new sightline regulations that would magically stretch their authority onto my land. We must protect our investments, she declared, voice climbing to that nails and chalkboard pitch. That's when Margaret Chun, retired attorney, quiet until now, stood up. Point of order, Madame President. You're currently under investigation for criminal trespass and filing a false police report. Are you even eligible to chair this meeting? The room erupted. Stories poured out: fines for wrong-colored mailboxes, forced flower replacements. That time she sent landscapers to butcher my hedge. After years of silence, the neighbors found their voice. I move for a vote of no confidence, Margaret said. Every hand shot up. Then came the knockout punch. I further move that the HOA seek a protective order against Karen Whitmore for the protection of our neighbor, Luke Morrison, for actions have exposed us all to legal liability. Another narrow unanimous vote, and then Richard Stevens, the treasurer, stood holding the HOA by Section 12, Subsection 3. Any officer engaged in criminal conduct that discredits the association is subject to immediate expulsion and a $5,000 penalty. The gavel fell. Karen was out, fined, publicly humiliated. She stood at the podium, pale and trembling, like a statue cracking under its own weight. I didn't stick around for the aftermath, but I did install a new gate. The next week, sturdy steel, keypad lock, intercom speaker, and a sign in bold, no-nonsense lettering, private property, nitrogen monoxide, exceptions. Months later, the court handed down its verdict, guilty on all counts: false report, criminal trespass, 200 hours, community service, 1 year probation, a $3,000 fine, Andising on the Cape Her real estate. License suspended for 6 months. I'll never forget the look on her face in that courtroom. Pure disbelief, as if the world had betrayed her by enforcing consequences. She'd spent so long hiding behind HOA rules, treating them like a shield. She'd forgotten one simple truth. Out here, on real land, with real stakes, the law doesn't care how many clipboards you carry, and neither do I.